Well, I think obviously they'll be in the 50 to 60 possessions, 70 possessions that there were. I haven't seen the final sheet yet in terms of points per possession, but there'll be multiple things we can go back through and look at first half and second half that everything will be magnified in the last 18 seconds and how the game unfolded at the end, but there will be multiple things that we'll have to look at, whether it be things defensively, offensively, that put us in a position where it came down to 18 seconds. As I told the team, they've made monumental strides in the right direction, and now it's a matter of becoming more and more consistent. I thought for the most part we got the ball to the right places. The shots that we took at times around the rim, did we have 2 feet underneath us? Were we going towards contact? Those type of things. I'll have a better idea. I have some thoughts on from watching it in front of me, but I don't want to get over analytical until I see it on film. So, again, proud of how they battled, how they've worked, how they've bought in. They've continued to strive and push and get better, but at the same time, there's no such thing as a moral victory. We still need to continue to get better, and there's so many things, as we went through the game from earlier in the week, where if we do 5 things a little bit better of the 30 or 40 or 50 that I find, that makes a difference. And we'll find the same thing here today, but that obviously is a very good team we just played, and one of the better ones I've seen on film this year. And they were pretty obviously up front until you really see them in person. You never know exactly how the pieces come together, but you know, we battled. We were not anywhere near where we can be yet, and I think that's what has everybody so excited and understanding that as long as we continue to push forward, we'll be in the right position.
Jeff.
Greg, you've talked about the battle, but I'm sure you know that sometimes if guys don't see a reward, in this case of victory, at the end of all that hard work, that they can get a little bit down. Do you sense any of that? Are you concerned about that at all at this point?
No, because I won't allow it. I told them there is no pity party here. Nobody feels sorry for us. We have to turn around and prepare for Northwestern. I mean, this league, having been in it and having watched it my whole life, there's not a time where you can take a breath and sit back and relax, and you're on to the next one. Whether you come on the right-hand side or the left-hand side, it's on to next. And what can we learn from it? And this group has the right mentality that's developing. It's not there yet, but we're in a developmental process with having that capability to be able to handle those situations and continue to move forward. But they understand when we show up when I told them when they walked out of the locker room today, there is no pouting, our heads are up and we're moving forward. We'll learn from this, and we'll prepare for Northwestern starting tomorrow afternoon.
On the right.
Coaches, you've looked at your last 3 losses. Entertaining games for fans, I'm sure, but winding up on the short end. Is there something you're able to pull from the 3 losses? It seems like right there in every game, but closing a team out is proven to be an area of opportunity. Well,
there's about 80 to 90 things I pull every game, so there's 270 things in the last 3 games. It doesn't boil down to the last. You talk about closing out. There's so many things that put us in that position, either positively or negatively, and I don't show just things that we make mistakes on. I show things where we've done things pretty well, and those things are starting to show more and more. I'm finding more of those things and less of things that are negative. But I never worry about the scoreboard. I've talked to them all the time about just worrying about the process. And I got that from Nick Saban reading a book of his a couple years ago, that don't worry about the scoreboard. Just focus on the process and do your job to the best of your abilities every single play. And then the scoreboard will take care of itself. We haven't been to the best of our abilities on every single play. And that's the process that we're working towards and building towards.
Jeff.
Greg, yesterday at practice you had a long talk with the guys. I'm sure there were some things you saw that you didn't like. Can you share what your concern was and how did they respond today based on what you talked to them about yesterday?
Well, with so many young guys, sometimes there's a misconception in terms of how you have to practice every day. And that's one thing that's always been firmly entrenched in this program, that we practice. How we play is how we will practice, and how we practice is how we will play. So to emphasized the value that I put on practice, and it's probably been magnified tenfold since I've been in this position because I evaluate every single second of practice on film at night when I go home and bring things. And we've shown more things from practice than ever in my 20-some years of coaching. I just felt we need to accelerate the learning process so much more with a young group and the transition we were in that I had to find other ways for them to learn other than just game experience. So I've really pulled a lot from practice, whether it be drills, simple passing drills, whether it be 5-on-5, whether it's doing some breakdown things that were drills we did before we had the media back in at practice during that transition period. So I always expect every single day it will be your best because once you establish those good habits, you know, good habits are tough to break just like bad ones are. And that's the process, especially with younger guys. At times you go through where, you know, well, I'm a little tired today. No, there's no pity party here. We're going on, and we're gonna do this drill, and we're gonna do that drill, and we're gonna do our possessions, and we're gonna work against pressure, and we're gonna do it to the best of our abilities. Those habits, once they are entrenched firmly, then they start to show themselves, and you eliminate inconsistencies during games. So that was just the message that you know, and it's not the first time the message has ever been delivered in the history of the game, and won't be the last. So they understood. They understood what I was getting to, and understand that this is a process, and part of the process is taking ownership, whether you've been here for 5 years or whether you've been here for 9 months.
You know,
Greg, on the last shot, is that a shot that you realistically expect Trimble to take? And then could you do anything differently there defensively, or is that just one of those possessions where you just throw your hands up and say, well, you know, they got us?
Well, get him to miss it, you know. With the way they spread the floor, I knew what they were trying to do. If we crowd him too much, he's going to the rim, and they're in the bonus, so he's shooting free throws, and he's 90% from the foul line. So you pick your poison there. If you try to come and double him, now you end up one of those other guys open. I thought we had the lane pretty well protected. Could we have inched out even more? Maybe, but he's so good with the ball in terms of drawing contact, in terms of shiftiness. He gets you leaning one way and crosses you back over the other way. I mean, I watched last year's game yesterday in my office, and the things that he had Josh spinning at times, and Josh is one of the best defenders ever played here. So, you know, that's you just credit Melo that he made a heck of a shot. But again, that'll be focused on that last possession. I am more concerned about all the other, you know, 60, 70, whatever there was leading up to that, where you're not in that position. So, but again, credit to him. I mean, Mark's got a heck of a team, and I've said earlier in the week they've got the trifecta. It's deep, they're experienced, and they're talented. So, we got to keep pushing forward and keep improving.
Jeff.
Greg, you mentioned some of the other things that led up to it being a one-possession game. Free throws again, some missed opportunities there. Is there anything you can do other than just keep getting them to the line and giving them a shot to make them?
Well, I had them after the Indiana game. We took the day off on Wednesday just to get them off their legs, and I gave them between Tuesday night. And they obviously weren't going to do it Tuesday night when we got back, but Wednesday, Thursday, they had until Friday morning to shoot 100 free throws on their own and report what the scores were. And the scores were all good. I mean, there was a lot of them in the 90s. You know, free throws are sometimes an overanalyzed, not statistic, but they can be contagious. You know, when we have guys step up and make them, everybody makes them. When you have a couple miss, then it starts spreading. My biggest thing is that we aren't getting there enough. We weren't there enough tonight. You know, if we go 15 for 20 with 6 misses, or 14 for 20, or 15 for 21, we need to get there more than 11 times. Obviously, some of that is their size. Some of it is what they took away from us. I thought they sent more help at Nigel in the post the second half, and some of it is how are we playing once we get in the paint? Are we playing off 2 feet? Are we fading away? Are we finishing through contact? Those things will lead to be in a position. And also, you play with a lead, you have a tendency to shoot more free throws. I mean, they don't shoot many either. They shoot 12. You know, but those things, there's a lot of things that can affect free throw numbers, but I'm more concerned as long as we're touching the right place, which obviously we are for the most part, then we've got to be better at drawing contact and finishing around. I mean, we left a lot of points at the rim. I think 28 is what I was told by our people that keep all those stats. Within 5 feet, I think 5 feet and in, I think there was 28 points we left. So again, in a one-possession game, those things can be magnified. I put the magnification more on that than Melo making a 24-footer.
Jim.
Greg, you may have just answered this when you talked about how they defended Nigel a little differently in the second half. Is that, I mean, he went 5 of 7 in the first half, 1 of 8 in the second half. Was that mostly what Maryland was doing? Was he forcing the issue a little bit, did you think?
Well, I'd have to look. I have to look on the film to see exactly how he planted and what position he was in. That I can tell when I can go frame by frame in terms of what he's doing with his feet, how his body is. Did he square up, and do I see his body as I go through slow motion going towards the rim? Is he twisting away from contact? Those things, like I said earlier, I don't want to get too over-analytical.
We got time for one more for Coach.
Greg, I was
Sure.
wondering if you can talk about Ethan's day-to-day and what made him effective, especially coming out of in the second half.
Well, he took him a little bit to get going. I thought he had a couple easy ones early, and they rolled off. But credit to him that he again was able to regroup, and I took him out early, got him back in, and then he got his legs under him a little bit better, and in terms of just calming down and relaxing and just playing. And I thought he really gave us a boost there in both halves. I mean, he missed a few there around the rim. Again, I'll have to go through exactly sequentially how it happened. I think he was 4 for 7 both halves, but had the ball in the right spots. Just a matter of now we got to complete that, and instead of going 4 for 7, let's go 6 for 7. Those 6 to 8 points can be a huge benefit.